See anything you like?
It's a man's world.
What is up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the compassionately cold-hearted Dr. Disaster, and for too long, gamers have been asked to deal with main characters that look like this. What you're seeing here is the masculine redesign that Xbox had planned for Joanna Dark in the Perfect Dark reboot. Modern devs were deluded into thinking that this sort of thing would help their marketing cause, when in fact, this stuff only hurts them. Perfect Dark was cancelled because gamers are not buying that garbage any longer. A petition on change.org was begun in order to revive this cancelled game, but I don't think that the 216 signatures that we see here after a month are gonna get it done. That is the power of the modern audience that too many developers have been catering to. Whenever a studio finally gets it into their heads that the staggering majority of gamers fit into the demographic of straight males, they will make a ton of money, which brings us to Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. The straight male crowd wants to see masculine male characters and feminine females, and actually, even the female gamers out there, which they do exist, but even they, the non-feminist tourist variety, they want to see characters like this. So, it is no surprise to see that Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is showing up with some pretty solid numbers on Steam thus far, being number 44 in the top sellers list already, when we are still a week and a half away from the release of this game.
I will beat your ass like a Cherokee drum.
It is refreshing to see a game franchise that isn't trying to reinvent itself for a modern audience, unlike Perfect Dark, whereas that turd was cancelled for being ugly and unappealing as hell. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater actually went out of their way not to change anything other than the graphics from the original game. They aren't even changing the risque sexualized content. This game truly is a throwback to a different era where games were made for the people who bought them and didn't tiptoe to avoid upsetting the feminist tourists who want to capture our hobbies. Back then, they knew how to address these types of whiners, and it looks like Metal Gear is recapturing that spirit.
My problem is that I hate men, you know?
Shut up!
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also, I've started uploading some content onto Rumble as well, so make sure you look for Dr. Disaster over there, and don't forget to follow me on X, where my handle is Dr. Disaster1. But anyhow, let's take a look at Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, and if what we are hearing about it is true, then I heartily recommend that you pick the game up. But let's take a look at how this game is catering to a crowd of gamers who have been ignored for far too long, and then we will take a peek at how well the game appears to be selling, because I have some numbers from retail locations concerning this game. First off though, I'd like to point out that months ago, this image here surfaced from the Tokyo Game Show last year, featuring Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater and the classic Booth Babes aesthetic that used to be so prominent back in the day when game developers actually wanted to sell their games before the progressive shitlibs got hold of the industry and decided that somehow this was harmful to women. But as soon as I saw this image, I knew that this was a game that understood its audience. And we have this news here, which suggests that Metal Gear is going to be essentially just a carbon copy of what we got back in 2004. This article is from IGN, and it says here, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater includes the suggestive and sexual content in Metal Gear Solid 3, including the Peep Demo Theater, according to an age rating. While developer Konami has not formally confirmed that the controversial content has been retained, the U.S. Classification Board, the ESRB, has rated the stealth action game as mature 17+, due to its realistic gunfire, cries of pain, bloody combat, and suggestive/sexual content, as well as detailing the game's realistic combat and violence. The ESRB reports cutscenes depict further instances of violence and blood, a restrained character beaten and electrocuted, a character shot in the eye, a character on fire shot several times. And I just love how IGN is referring to that Peep Demo Theater as controversial content. I imagine the journalist writing this article had to do so through gritted teeth. These people despise anything that even remotely caters to the evil male gaze, after all. But the article goes on to explain what else is included in the game. The game contains some suggestive/sexual content, a man groping a woman's breast, close-up camera angles of deep cleavage, a character briefly groping a man, a Peep Demo Theater allowing players to view cutscenes of a female character's body from a first-person perspective. The Peep Demo Theater is an unlockable extra feature found in the Subsistence and HD Collection versions of the original Metal Gear Solid 3 that permits Snake to move the camera around and zoom in during the cutscene in which Eva appears in her underwear. It is unlocked by playing through the game 4 times. Metal Gear Solid Delta seems more like a very shiny HD remaster than the elegant remake it could have been, IGN said in our Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater preview, which reflects on Snake's new first-person perspective. It's an admittedly beautiful nostalgia trip, but almost faithful to a fault. We awarded the original Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater an impressive 9.6. So, if the game originally was an impressive 9.6 out of 10, then how could a faithful remake be faithful to a fault? That only makes sense if you understand that this game journalist, like all mainstream journalists, she has a feminist agenda that this game does not cater to. But what's funny to me is how tepid the resistance to this sort of material is these days. If this game had come out last year, these same people would be writing multiple articles every day talking about the evils of masculine escapism. They would have written about how Eva actually needs to look like an androgynous lump of ugly, just like the character redesign that we saw for the Perfect Dark reboot. Hell, just last year these same journalists were freaking out about Stellar Blade until they realized just how popular the game was and how whining about it showcased just how prudish and ridiculous the progressive narrative had become. But this game, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, it is doing a lot right, which is why it looks like it's selling pretty well in retail stores. As most of you likely know, I used to own my own gaming store, and I maintain contact with several other people who run stores of their own, and they provide me pre-order data for the games that they sell in order to paint a picture as to what we can expect on release. My contacts have access to almost 50 retail locations that sell games, and in those locations, they are telling me that they have sold 131 copies of Metal Gear thus far. For reference, when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was a week and a half out from its release, these same stores had sold 153 copies of that. Metal Gear is tracking behind Kingdom Come, which went on to sell multiple millions of copies in its first month, but it's way ahead of the likes of Dragon Age the Veilguard, which had sold 73 copies at this same juncture. And of course, Dragon Age was a massive flop, so this is reassuring that Metal Gear is kicking its ass. Considering that Metal Gear is a remake though, these numbers are actually pretty good. Usually these remakes and remasters, even if they are made from games that are much beloved, they usually have kind of muted, middling numbers, so Delta Snake Eater is looking like it's doing pretty damn good. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your support for a game like Metal Gear Delta Snake Eater into the comment section below, and also let me know, are you planning on picking this game up? Drop your thoughts into the comment section and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.